This is Edexcel Secure Mock 3 Paper 1F. Question 1. Write the following numbers in order of size, starting with the smallest number. So the smallest number is one that's most negative. So negative 12 will go first, then negative 8, then 2, 5 and 10. Write the following numbers in order of size, starting with the smallest again. So we're going to look with the number that's furthest left, the digit that's furthest left. So each number has got 1 unit in it, so that's not going to help us put these in order. So we next need to look at the tens column, where this has got 0 tenths, 3 tenths, 3 tenths and 7 tenths. So the smallest one of those is going to be 1 with the 0 tenths. We've then got 2 numbers that have 3 tenths in it, so we now need to look at the next place over. This one's got 7 hundredths and this one's got 0 hundredths. So 1.307 will come next, then 1.37, because that's got 7 hundredths, and then the one with the 7 tenths in it, 1.703, will be last. Question 2, write 27% as a fraction. Well, percent means out of 100, so it'll just be 27 out of 100. Always cancel down if you can, but the only numbers that go into 27 are 3 and 9 that will help us, and they don't go into 100, so we can't cancel down. Write 0.09 as a fraction. Well, this is the tenths column, and this is the hundredths column. So we've got 9 hundredths. Question 4, write 2,549 correct to the nearest 10. Well, the tens column has currently got a 4 in it for 40, but the units column has 9 units in, so that's going to make it closer to 50. So that'll be 2,550. Question 5, in the space below, draw a hexagon. So the key words here are draw and hexagon. Draw doesn't mean construct, it just means to draw a sketch. So we don't need to start using a compass or a protractor here. And a hexagon is a 6-sided shape. So we just need to do a good sketch of a 6-sided shape. 6 sides. Question 6, find the number that is exactly halfway between -4 and 10. The best way to find the halfway number between two numbers is to add the two numbers together. So -4 add 10 and then half it, because that'll find the middle value. So -4 add 10 would be 6, divided by 2 gives us 3. So the middle value would be 3. So work out £3.89 times 5. So I'm going to set this up using the column method. So 3.89 times 5. 5 times 9 is 45, so put your 5 down and carry your 4. 5 times 8 is 40, add your 4, so 4 down and carry your 4. And 5 times 3 is 15, add your 4 is 19. So at the minute, that's still incorrect because I need to make sure I put the decimal place back in where it should be, which is just there, so £19.45. Question 8, here is part of an accurately drawn map showing 2 towns, Appleton and Blickford. Find in kilometres the real distance between Appleton and Blickford. So we need to use our ruler here, and we're going to set that up. So we've got very accurately between there and there. We can see it's just at 6.6 centimetres. So 6.6 centimetres might be slightly different on your paper depending on how it's been printed. And it says here that every centimetre is worth 5 kilometres. So we're going to times this by 5. So 6 times 5 is 30, so 0 down, carry your 3. 5 times 6 is 30, add your 3 is 33 kilometres. Cookwood is a town 22 kilometres due south of Blickford. On the map, mark with across the position of Cookwood. So you might need to use a protractor here. You can see that mine's got angles on my ruler. You might just need to use a protractor to make sure you've got it due south. But mine, I can make sure it's due south by getting mine to 90 degrees south there. You can use a protractor to do that. And I'm going to put it at Blickford. I'm going to measure down, and I just need to measure down the correct distance. So I want 22 kilometres, and every centimetre is worth 5 kilometres. So I need to do 22 divided by 5. So the best way to do that is with a bush shelter method. How many 5s into 2 are none? Carry your 2. How many? Sorry, that should be a 5. How many 5s into 22 is 4, remainder 2. So we can now go to decimal places and put our remainder down onto the decimals. And how many 5s into 20 is 4? So it should be 4.4 centimetres. So going down here to 4.4 as accurate as you possibly can would be just there. So I can't just draw as easily as you, but I should have my cross just there at 4.4 centimetres. Question 9. Here are some prices in a cafe. Jack orders 2 teas, 1 coffee, 1 toast and a bacon sandwich. He only has a £10 note. Does he have enough money to pay the bill? So the first thing we need to do is add up everything that he pays, that he wants. So he wants 2 teas at £1.60 each. He wants some coffee at £2.25. He wants toast at £1.85. And he wants a bacon sandwich at £3.30. So we need to add all these together. So doing this column first, 5 add 5 is 10, so 0 down, carry 1. 6 add 6 is 12, 14, 22, 25, 26. So 6 down, carry 2. Don't forget your decimal place. 1 add 1 is 2, 4, 5, 8, 10. So it's £10.60 that it costs. So we now need to write that no, he doesn't have enough money. No, he does not have enough. It's really important you don't think that that's just obvious. You've got to actually write down that he doesn't have enough. Question 10. There are only 9 counters in a bag. There are 2 reds, 3 greens and 4 blues. Leffner takes at random a counter from the bag. Write down the probability that it's a blue. So the blues, there are 4 of the blues and there are 9 counters altogether. We should always do probability and have a fractions, decimals or percentages. In this case, fractions is much easier. Probability of getting a white counter, well there are no white counters, so that would be 0 out of 9, or that's just 0, that's fine, that's 0. There are only 3 buttons in a box, 1 pink, 1 yellow and 1 brown. Indra takes a button from the box and she also throws an ordinary dice. List all the possible outcomes. Well, we could have a pink with a 1, a pink with a 2, a pink with a 3, a pink with a 4, a pink with a 5, or a pink with a 6. We could also have a yellow with a 1, a yellow with a 2, a yellow with a 3, 4, 5 and a 6. And finally we could have a brown with a 1, a brown with a 2, brown 3, brown 4, brown 5 and brown 6. Question 11. Write down the number of faces on a cube. So a cube is basically a 3D square, so we can just draw it in here. Alright, so it's got a front face and it will also have a back face that's the same as it, so that'll be 2. You've got a top face and there'll also be one at the bottom that's the same as it, so that's 3 and 4. You've got a side face and the other side face, which will be 5 and 6. So it's got 6 faces. Here is a square-based pyramid. Write down the number of edges. So edges are these lines that you draw the shape with, including these dotted lines at the back. So if you count up all those lines, we've got 8 lines or 8 edges. Number 12. Mel drives a bus 39 weeks in a year. She drives a bus an average of 298 miles each week. Work out an estimate for the number of miles Mel drives in 1 year. So to estimate, we always round to one significant figure. So 39 would round to 40, and 298 would round to 300. So we're doing 40 times 300. We only do this when we're estimating. So 4 times 3 is 12, and then add 1, 2, 3 zeros. 1, 2, 3. So that's 12,000 miles is our estimate. Part B, it says, is your answer to part A an underestimate or an overestimate? And give a reason. Well, it's going to be an overestimate, and the reason for that is I rounded both numbers up. So if I've made both numbers bigger, it's going to be an overestimate. So both numbers were rounded up, and that's really key. If they were both rounded down, then that would be an underestimate. If one went up and one went down, it would be difficult to know. So in these types of questions, they will either both be up or both be down. Question 13. The table shows information about the favourite instrument played by each of 24 students. On the grid, draw a suitable diagram to show this information. So the key thing here is that we've got boys and we've got girls. So the best way to do this is probably with a dual bar chart. So to set our dual bar chart up, first of all we need some axes. I'm going to use the full axes here. And it's really important that when you number the side, we start at 0 and then 1 on each square. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. We only need to go up to 6, so we're absolutely fine with that. Just check that. You might have to go up in 2s, but really important to check. Just make sure that 1, you started at 0, and 2, you've labelled the side. So this is the frequency. so the number of people that play that instrument. Along the bottom, we're going to have the different instruments. So again, there's a mark for labelling your axes, so it's really important that you do this. We also need a key. So if we're going to do a dual bar chart, I will do a normal bar, coloured in, will be for boys, and an empty bar would be for girls. Okay. Now, with a bar chart, you must always leave a gap at the front and a gap between the bars, apart from the bars that are for the same instrument in this case. So we're going to leave a gap, and then I'm going to use 2 squares, 1 square per bar for boys and girls for guitar. So for a guitar for boys it's 6, and again you should be using a ruler and pencil, and for girls it's 2. So I've coloured in the boys, like my key says, and I've left the girls. For violin, again I'm going to leave 1 bar space, and then I'm going to have 2 squares for my next bars, so this will be for violin. For boys that is 2, don't forget to colour it in because the boys are coloured in, and for girls that is 5, not coloured in. Leave a space again, and then 2 more squares. So for keyboard, the boys are at 3, and the girls are at 2. And finally, recorder, leaving a space, and then going to there. Boys are at 1, and the girls are at 3. So again, colouring in the boys one. It says one of the students is chosen at random. What is the probability that this student's favourite instrument is not a recorder? Well, rather than adding up all the ones that aren't a recorder, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add up the ones that are. So there are 4 people that do the recorder, and there are 24 altogether. So my probability is going to be out of 24. And if 4 do like recorder, then that must leave 20 that don't like recorder. Now, this is a 2-mark question, so often there can be a mark for cancelling down. So we can see that 4 go into both of these, so that would be 5, 6. Question 14, work out 172 times 34. So again, I'm going to use the proper column method. Really important on the non-calculator method, you can use the column method for multiplication and addition, and you can use Bush-Alter method for division, so really make sure you practice those. So we start off by doing 4 times all of these, so 4 times 2 is 8, 4 times 7 is 28, so 8 down, carry 2, and 4 times 1 is 4, added 2 is 6. We're now going to multiply by this 3, which actually stands for 30. So we're going to put a 0 down, which is like times it by 10, and then we're just going to times by 3. So 3 times 2 is 6, 3 times 7 is 21, so 1 down, carry 2, and 3 times 1 is 3, added 2 is 5. So 5,160. Then we need to add those 2 together, so 8 add 0 is 8, 6 add 8 is 14, so 4 down, carry 1, 6 add 1 is 7, added 1 is 8, and then 5, so 5,848. Question 15. There are 360 golf balls in a bucket. There are 60 yellow, 50 orange and 40 pink. The rest of the golf balls are white. What fraction of the golf balls are white? Give your answer in its simplest form. So for this one, first of all we need to figure out how many golf balls we've got here. So 60 add 40 would be 100, putting these 2 together, and then add the 50 would be 150. And there's 360 altogether, so we need to do 360 minus 150. Now you could do that using a proper method if you wish, but hopefully you can do that in your head. That would be 210. So we've got 210 whites then. So that would be 210 out of 360. Now ask me in its simplest form. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to divide by 10, which will get me to 21 over 36. And then I know that both 21 and 36 are in the 3 times table, so I'm going to divide by 3 to get 7 over 12 as my final answer. Question 16. Here are the ages in years of 20 footballers. When drew the stem and leaf diagram to show this information? Write down 2 things that are wrong with the stem and leaf diagram. So the really important thing with the stem and leaf diagram is 1, it has a key, which it does have, but we're going to check that in a second. And 2, all the numbers are evenly spaced and in order. So we need to make sure, 1, we've got all the numbers in there, 2, they're all in order, and 3, we've got a correct key. Okay. So the first thing I can see is these look all in order, apart from till we get down here. So one of the mistakes is made is that for the 40s column, they're not in order. So I'm going to put numbers not in order. The second thing I can see looking at the key is that it said that 1-7 represents 17 footballers, where actually it represents their ages. So the key, so the second thing I'm going to write down is that the key should represent ages, not footballers. Now there is a third mistake here as well. If you look here, there are two 29s in this information, and if you go along the 20s column, there's only one 29 in there. So there could be a third thing as well, that he's missed a number off in there as well. So it's really good to check all those three things. He's got all the numbers, they're all in order, and he's got a correct key. Question 17. On the grid above, reflect the shaded shape in the line with the equation x equals -1. So x is here, so if I go along the x-axis to -1, this is the line x equals -1. So I need to reflect it in there. So you can see the shape is 1 square away, so it's going to end up 1 square away again, and it will just go in here. Do ask for tracing paper if you struggled, and you can flip that tracing paper over to do your reflection. It says triangle A is a reflection of triangle B. Write down the equation of the line of reflection. Well, we can see here that this is a diagonal mirror line, straight through the origin there. So the equation of that line is the line y equals x. The reason why it's y equals x is because it goes through where the y coordinate and the x coordinates are the same. So 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4. So the y coordinate is the same as the x coordinate, y equals x. Question 18. A number of students go on a coach trip. The cost of hiring the coach is £180 and the school pays 80% of this cost. The students pay the rest of the cost. Each student pays £1.50. Work out the number of students on the coach trip. So the first thing we need to do is work out 20% of 180. And the way we'll do that is we'll work out 10% and another 10%. So 10% we divide by 10 is 18. So another 10%. And if we add those together, we get 20% is 36. So the students to share out this £36 between them, and they each pay £1.50 each. We're doing 36 divided by £1.50. Now, you can use a bush algebra method for this, but an easy way would be to notice that 3 goes into this, and also double this is £3. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do 36 divided by 3, because that's quite easy to do. And then for every £3, there will be 2 students. So I will times that by 2. So 36 divided by 3 is 12, times by 2 means there must be 24 students on this trip. Question 19. Peter has 4 photos. Each photo is in the shape of a rectangle with dimensions 12 by 8. Peter is going to enlarge the photos by a scale factor of 1.5 and put 4 enlarged photos in this picture frame. The dimensions of the outside of the picture frame are 40 by 26 and the width of each side of the frame is 2 centimetres. Can the 4 enlarged photos fit in the picture frame without overlapping? So the first thing we need to do is we need to figure out 1, how big the photos are going to be, and then 2, we need to figure out if we've got enough space to fit them in. So I'm going to work out the length and width, so we need to times these by 5. So 12 times 1.5 is, we can just do 12 times 1, which is 12, and then a half of 12 is 6. Add them together, that would be 18 centimetres. And then 8 times 1.5, again, 1 times 8 is 8, and a half of 8 is 4. Add those together is 12 centimetres. So our enlarged photos are going to be 18 by 12. If we take 2 centimetres off for this and 2 centimetres off for this, 40 minus 2 is going to give us that the width should be 36 centimetres, going from there. And going this way, we've got 26, take 2, which would be 22. So this is going to be 22 centimetres going up and down there. So to fit these in, to fit 4 in, we're going to need 2 of these. So 18 times 2 is 36. So yes, they can fit in lengthwise. But widthwise, we're going to need to, again, to fit 2 of those in. So 12 times 2 is 24. And we've actually only got 22 centimetres, so no, it can't fit in widthwise. So we just need to write down what we've found. So they will fit 2 across, but can't fit 2 down. So no. Question 20. write 3 to the power of 5 times 3 to the power of 4 over 3 to the power of 2 as a power of 3. Well, 3 to the power of 5 just means 3 times 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. And 3 to the power of 4 is 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. So altogether you can see we've got 3 to the power of 9. There are 9 3's all in a row. And we're going to divide that by 3 twice. So divide that by 3 squared. So if we're going to multiply by 3 and then divide by 3, multiplying and dividing by the same number will cancel out. So that will cancel with that will cancel with that, and we'll just be left with 3 to the power of 7. So 3 to the power of 7. The shortcut to this is just to add the indices when we are multiplying, because that will give me how many 3's are all in a row, and then subtract the indices when we're dividing, because that's the ones that will cancel out. So 9 takes 2 will be 7. Write down the value of 12 to the power 0. Well, should always know that 12 to the power 0 or anything to the power 0 is just 1. But if we're not quite sure about that, I'll just give you a quick example. 12 squared means 12 times 12, which is 144. 12 to the power 1 is just 12. So to get from here to here, the opposite of timesing by 12 is to divide by 12. So to get to 12 to the power 0, we're going to divide by 12 again, which means 12 divided by 12 is just 1. So that's why anything to the power 0 is always 1, because you're just dividing by itself as you're going down. It says write 3 to the minus 2, write down the value of 3 to the minus 2. So a negative sign in indices means to find the reciprocal, or to put it as 1 over. So we're going to do it as 1 over 3 to the power 2. And 3 to the power 2 is just 3 times 3, which is 9. So 1 over 9. Question 21. The diagram shows a fish tank in the shape of a cuboid. The dimensions of the tank are 50 by 32 by 20. The tank is 3/4 full of water and sand. So that's really important. We've got water and sand here. And the ratio of water to sand is in the ratio of 5 to 1. Work out the number of litres in the tank of water. So to work out the volume of water, I need this distance here, which we've got, it's 50. I need this distance here, which we've got, it's 20. And I need this distance here, which we don't just have yet. We do have the full distance, which is 32. So we need to share that out, because it's only actually 3/4 full up to here. So to get up to here, I need to find 3/4 of 32. Now to find 3/4 of 32, I divide by the bottom and times by the top. So 32 divided by 4 times by 3. 32 divided by 4 is 8. Times by 3 is 24 centimetres. So this distance here is 24 centimetres. Now I actually only want the depth of water, which is up to here. Now the water to sand ratio is 5 to 1, which is 6 parts. So the depth of water and sand together is 24. So I need to do 24, split it into 6 parts, so divide by 6, which is 4. And then to put that in the ratio of 5 to 1, times each of these by 4, I get that it's 20 centimetres and 4 centimetres. So this distance here would be 20, and this distance here would be 4. So we've now got our distance that we're after, it's 20. So to work out the volume of water, we need to do 50 times 20 times the value we just worked out, which is again is 20. So 5 times 2 is 10, times 2 is 20, then add 1, 2, 3 zeros. So that's 20,000, and we're still working in centimetres cubed in it, because everything here was in centimetres. Now, what we need to know here is that 1 litre is the same as 1,000 millilitres, and that 1 millilitre is the same as 1 centimetre cubed. So that would be the same as 1,000 centimetres cubed. So to work it out in litres, I need to do 20,000 divided by 1,000, which would give me 20 litres. Question 22. In a sale, the price of the cooker is reduced by 50%. At the end of the sale price of the cooker is increased by 50%. Betty says the cooker is now the same price as it was before the sale. Is she correct? Well, no, she's not. And the best way to explain this is using an example. So, e.g., if it cost £100, then 0.5, or to knock off 50% times by 0.5, of 100 would be £50. So in the sale, it would cost £50. Then, to add 50% back on, we'd multiply by 1.5. So 50% of 50 is 25. So, and adding that back on, that would only get us back up to £75. So you can see that if we use an example, the best way to show it is to knock 50% off, because 50% of 100 is 50, knocking that off leaves us with 50. And then 50% of 50 is only 25. So adding that back on only gives us back up to 75. So the key here is that 50% of the original is a lot bigger than 50% of the sale price. Question 23. Here is a kite. All angles are measured in degrees. Work out y. Now, the first point here is that we've got a kite and these sides are the same as each other. So that means that these two angles here will be the same as each other. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put these two angles, equal to each other, which gives me an equation that I can solve. So first things I need to do is expand the brackets. Make sure you always multiply both things by 5. And this side we're just leaving alone. And now we've got an equation that we can properly solve. So I'm going to take the smallest amount of x's off both sides. So I'm going to take 3x off that side. I'm going to take 3x off that side, which leaves me with 2x's here, minus 50. And if I take the 3x's off, they disappear. I'm left with 10. So the whole point of that was to get a side with no x's on. We can now get rid of this minus 50 by adding 50. Well, I've got to add 50 to both sides to make it fair. So 2x would be equal to 60. So 1x by dividing by 2 would be 30. So x is 30. Now, really important, don't just think that this angle is 30. It's x that's 30. So we need to do 3 lots of 30, add 10. 3 lots of 30 is 90, add 10 is 100. And we already said that this should be the same. So that should be 100. But just to check, 30 take away 10 is 20, times by 5 is 100. So both these are 100. The next thing we need to do is we need to know that a 4-sided shape, all the angles should add up to 360. So we're going to do 360, take away these 3 angles that we've now got, which is 110, 100, and 100. So that's 310, take that off, we'll be left with 50 degrees for y. Question 24, solve the simultaneous equations. 3x minus 2y equals minus 5, and 2x minus 4y equals 2. Now, straight away, this is going to be a little bit more difficult than usual ones because we've got a lot of negatives in here. So we need to be really, really good with negative numbers. The first thing we need is we need the x's or the y's to be the same, but I'm going to stick with the x's because they're positive. So I'm going to times the first one by 2 and the second one by 3 so that we end up with 6 x's in each. So multiplying the first one by 2, we should get 6x minus 4y equals minus 10. And then multiply the second one by 3, I'll end up with 6x minus 12y equals 6. So just multiply the first one by 2 and the second one by 3. Now, if I take these two away from each other, 6x takes 6x will be no x's. That's the whole reason for doing this. We get rid of the x's out of here and we'll be left with just the y so we can work out what y is. So 6x takes 6x is nothing. The really important thing here is that we've got minus 4y's take away minus 12. So taking away a negative is like adding, and we're already starting at a negative. So we're doing minus 4, add 12. And minus 4, add 12 would be positive 8, so 8y's. And then minus 10 take 6 will get us down to minus 16. So dividing by 8, we get that y is equal to minus 2. So we can put that on our answer line, y is equal to minus 2. Once we've got y is minus 2, we can substitute it into either one of these equations. I'm going to choose the second one purely because the answer is positive. I don't like working with negatives, it's where I make most of my mistakes. So I'm going to substitute it into the second one. So I've got 2 x's, take away 4 lots of minus 2 equals 2. So let's just expand that. 4 lots of minus 2 is minus 8. So I'm going to take away minus 8. And then taking away negative is like adding. So 2x add 8 is equal to 2. So I'm going to subtract that 8 off both sides. I get 2x equals minus 6. So x divided by 2 would give us minus 3. So x is minus 3. Question 25. Here is a regular octagon. Regular is really important. It means that all the angles and sides are the same. ADJ is a straight line, so this here is a straight line, so that tells us automatically that this must be 180 here. An angle BAD and CDA are the same, so this is the same as this, really important. Show that angle CDJ is 135, so CDJ here, we're trying to show that that one is 135. Now, if we're showing that that's 135, we cannot use the fact that that is 135 in our working. We've got to show that it's 135 without using it. So the easiest thing that we know about regular shapes, or all polygons in fact, is that their external angles always add up to 360. Now an external angle is worked out by carrying a line or a side of it straight on like that, and this here would be the external angle. So an external angle would be 360 divided by the number of sides, which is 8, so this would be 45. If we know that that's 45, then because this is a straight line, this must be 135, and therefore this must be 135 because it's regular. 135 and 135 is 270, so take that away, so 360, because it's a four-sided shape, minus the 270 leaves me with 90, and divide that by 2 means that this must be 45 as well, and because these are the same, this must be 45, and then because angles on a straight line up to 180, this must be 135 like we said. Now we've got to give reasons for each stage. So the first stage here, number 1, was the external angles always add up to 360. The second stage here, so stage 2, was angles on a straight line add up to 180. The third stage was to use the fact that all of these will add up to 360. So angles in a four-sided shape was a quadrilateral. Quadrilateral add up to 360. And then the final stage over here was again using angles on a straight line. So angles on a straight line add up to 180. Okay, so it's really good that we label and annotate what we're doing, so then the examiner knows exactly what you're doing, where and when, and it's really important that we do this wherever we need it so we don't lose track of what we're doing. Question 26. Complete the table of values for y equals x cubed plus x squared minus 2x plus 1. So this looks a little bit harder than it actually is. We've only really got two values that we need to work out, because on this one we've got the x is 0, so all of this will be 0, and you just have plus 1 on the end, so that'll be 1. So that's nice and easy to do. But to do this one without a calculator, we've got to be really careful. So we've put minus 3 in as x, so we've got minus 3 cubed. We're adding to that minus 3 squared. We're taking away 2 lots of minus 3 and adding 1. So to work that out, minus 3 times minus 3 is plus 9, times by minus 3 again is minus 27. We're going to add to that minus 3 squared, which is plus 9. And then we're going to take away minus 6, because 2 lots of minus 3 is minus 6. So taking away negatives like adding. So we're going to add 6, and then we're going to add 1. So negative 27, add 9, add 6, add 1 would give us negative 11. So this would be negative 11. Again, we've got to do the same for this one. So we'd start off with, in the same way, 2 cubed, add 2 squared, take away 2 lots of 2, add 1. And then 2 cubed is 8, 2 times 2 times 2. 2 squared is 4. Take away 2 times 2, which is 4, so take away 4, and then add 1. So this will give us, these are going to cancel out, we're just going to be left with 9. Really important we know that a negative times a negative is a positive, and a negative number cubed will still remain negative. So we need to draw this now on our grid, and we've got to be really careful here, because the axes go 2 big squares across for 1 on here, and 1 square is 4 on here. So we've got to be really careful with where we're putting these. So the first one is at minus 3, minus 11. So we go to x is minus 3, and down to minus 11. So 8 is there, 10 will be there, 12 is there, so 11 is just there. So negative 11 will be just there. The next one is at negative 2 and 1. So negative 2, and again 4, so 2 will be halfway, so 1 will be just there. Then we're at negative 1, 3. So x is negative 1 and 3. Again, halfway there will be 2. So halfway up again would be 3. Then we're at 0, 1. So 0, 1. Then we're at 1, 1, which is going to be there. And then we are at 2 and 9. So halfway would be 10, so 9 would be just there. So join this up with a really nice smooth curve, like that. Question 27. here are the first 5 terms of an arithmetic sequence. The word arithmetic just means that they go up by the same number each time. The nth term of a different arithmetic sequence is 4n plus 15. The last term of each sequence is the same. So whenever we know that something's the same, we can put them equal to each other. That's really important. It comes up quite a lot in the new GCSEs. There are the same number of terms in each sequence. Find the number of terms in each sequence. So we know that this second one that we don't have the sequence for is 4n plus 15. If we work out the nth term of this, it's going up in 5s, so it's going to be 5n. So this means it's linked to the 5 times tables. The 5 times table starts with 5, and now it starts with 2, so we need to take 3 off. So this sequence is 5 and take 3. And because these are going to be the same as each other, we can put these equal to each other. And now we have an equation to solve again. You've seen this earlier in the paper. So we're going to take the smallest amount of n's off both sides. We take 4 n's off that side, we take 4 n's off that side. So we'll have end up with n minus 3 equals 15. We're then going to add 3 to both sides to give the n would be 18. So the last term in each sequence, there'll be 18 terms in each sequence.